You know, it's not every day that you hear about 200 people fighting anywhere. It's even rare that you hear a story about 200 people fighting at a school. But it happened. It happened in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Story's kind of wild. I've only seen the headline so far. But this looks like a crazy event. I have no idea what started this whole situation. But it just seems crazy. I don't know if any footage came out of what started the incident, but it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild, and it kind of stuck out when I first saw the headline. So let's take a look at this.
Good evening to you, friends. I'm Greg Merriweather. Boy, it was just mass chaos today as officers and deputies tried to contain a massive brawl at a Baton Rouge alternative school today. There's new reaction tonight, and plenty of people say that there was blame to go around on all sides. This involved nearly 200 people.
This is crazy.
Unit 97, please come up to the school. We still got multiple.
How do you even have a brawl between 200 people? Do you have, like, you know, like red and blue shirts so you can tell who's on whose team? Like, how does this work?
Fight taking place.
Yeah, man. Call for a dislocated shoulder for a juvenile man.
Transport to this FBI. We have multiple detained.
School board leaders are now calling for accountability across the board. Our Perry Robinson's in the Alert Center with new reaction
But
tonight.
how did this
Perry.
happen?
Hey Greg, leaders say this situation was one that should have never happened. And they are working to make sure that every person involved is of course held accountable. It was a downright ugly scene at the EBR Readiness Alternative School.
Unit 97, please come up to the school. We still got multiple fights taking place.
Investigators say it all started when the fight between a group of girls got out of control. That's when multiple parents and even adults who lived near the school showed up. And some even decided to jump in and fight too. Security had to call for backup after they said they were attacked.
Put on camera that y'all try to jump me. Hey, tell them to jump me.
3 cops had to go to the hospital, including
What in
one
the
with a
world?
broken hip.
What happened this morning, what I would say is an eyesore to everyone.
School board president Darius Landis says a lot of things.
This is crazy. It's kind of weird and odd and dumb that girls fighting each other, just a group, I'm assuming it's a friend group, fighting with each other, drew in like nearly 200 people. I am at a loss as to how this happens.
Went wrong.
And if we're being fully transparent, nobody is saying that wasn't wrongdoing on behalf of everybody.
One video.
DJ Low in the chat said reasons I'm homeschooled. I mean, hey, that's very fair. Although, hey, I could use the combat skills. I've never been in a physical fight in my life. Every single day I think it's to my detriment. Not because I want to fight. I hate fighting. But I think it's good, like, to know how to, like, you know, throw some dukes. Is that how you guys say it? I don't know.
Video that's been widely circulated shows a student's head being knocked into a brick wall as a deputy tries to arrest him. Deputies say that same student, a 17-year-old, had just punched that deputy in the face and tried to bite him. Landis claims officers have to stop a student from bringing a gun on campus just hours before any of this happened.
The thing that people don't see is that a gun was almost brought onto that campus and got inside of the building today. What you won't see is that one child actually had a metal chair and either chased after a police officer or another child.
Landis says everyone has to be held accountable.
What are you guys doing in Louisiana? What are you guys putting in the water? What is happening? There is no way that this makes sense to me. I can't imagine being like a kid and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bring a Glock to school. Or like, oh yeah, I see an officer, you know what I should really do? You know what the smart decision here would be? To chase him with a metal chair. Maybe this goes to the video we reacted to earlier, that people who are under the age of 25, their brains aren't fully developed. But even now, this just seems like common sense. Common sense would say, don't bring a gun to school. Common sense would say, don't chase a police officer with a metal chair. So why are people acting like this? This is baffling to me. This is strange. This is preposterous behavior.
specifically the parents.
Where these incidents they grow and become something even more is when our parents come on those campuses, and instead of removing those kids off of the campus so that we can restore order, we're finding that parents are also engaging inside of these fights as well. And
What? I had assumed that parents had come in to break the fight, and then break up the fight, and then they had also, some parents, of course, always take the sides of their children, and so the parents started fighting with each other, and then the kids of those parents all started fighting, and that drew in more kids. That's what I would have guessed, but not that the parents would have been like, yeah, smash his head in. Like, and maybe we're beginning to see the cause of the problem. Maybe some of these parents are to blame for setting this, negative example for the children in the first place, right? It's not like a parent wakes up one day and says, you know what, I'm going to beat some kids up at a school. Like, most parents don't just wake up and decide to do that. But if you have a pattern of violence, or if you have a pattern of not having self-control, or you have a pattern of, just excusing the sort of behavior and letting it slide, or even approving of it from a distance, then it doesn't surprise me that one day you'll get caught up in one of these situations, even as a full-grown adult. But this is just ridiculous, and it's inexcusable, especially for the parents to be behaving and engaging in this behavior.
Understand, you want to protect the child, but there's a time and a place for which we can do that, and it's not inside of a school campus. It's not on a school campus.
The East Baton
And it's not by fighting and brawling. It's by having civil conversations.
Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office plans to do a full investigation on the deputies involved.
If there was any wrongdoing that took place today, you're hearing this from me first. If there was any wrongdoing that took place today, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Whether that happened on behalf of law enforcement with a child, or whether a parent and a child, or a parent and a parent, or a parent and law enforcement, we're going to investigate every single thing, because we want everybody to know that this is a fair and balanced system.
That's good. And assuming this guy is being 100% genuine, this dude is taking the right approach here. This is exactly how you should handle a situation like this.
Was it done properly? A lot of things could have been done differently, but we're going to operate from the space that we're going to do better. And that's our message to the community now. We're going to do better, but we need you all to work with us.
Well, at last count, 10 people have been arrested, including parents and students. Investigators say it's possible even more people will be arrested as they continue to review surveillance and other videos of the fights. Greg, back to you.
Well, just so disheartening. Thank you, Perry. We appreciate it.
Man, I have covered all kinds of stories on my streams, on my YouTube channel. I have covered, a stabbing at a Christian university. I've covered all kinds of things. I have never covered a situation in which 200 people brawled at not only 200 people brawled at a school, but the parents joined in on the brawl and they contributed to it. Not, they dove in trying to break it up and stuff has escalated. They contributed to it. I have never seen anything like this before. And this is, bro. People say like good times lead to weak men who lead to bad times or something, and that's all true, but it also leads to bad parents. And this is what we're seeing. It's pervasive around society. It's unfortunate. And we're seeing why. 200-person brawls at schools. This is madness. This is madness. But I think if you have parents setting a better example for their children, then you wouldn't be dealing with these types of situations. So, you know what? Parents, you need to do better. You need to step up. That's my message there. Taking words of wisdom from the Captain America himself, the great Captain America himself.